Hello everyone. In this video, we will talk about the first $100,000 in savings and why it is so difficult to earn it. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss important financial lessons in my videos. Part 1. The Invisible Resistance. Most people think building wealth is simply a matter of saving more and spending less. But anyone who has actually tried knows that the early stages feel like pushing against a force you can't see. It's not laziness, not lack of information, and not even low income. It's something deeper. It's what I call the invisible resistance. And it shows up long before you ever reach your first real milestone. Think of it like trying to start a heavy, cold engine. When the metal hasn't warmed up yet, everything grinds. The pistons drag, the oil moves like sludge, and every rotation demands enormous energy. But once the engine heats up, it suddenly runs effortlessly. The machine didn't change, the physics around it did. Wealth works in exactly the same way. When you have nothing or close to nothing, every small step forward feels expensive, exhausting, and painfully slow. It's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because you're at the coldest part of the journey. Part 2. The Math of Early Wealth. Let's get straight to the numbers. Building wealth isn't about luck or waiting for a miracle. It's a mathematical game. The earlier you start, the more time your money has to work for you. But most people underestimate just how slow progress feels in the beginning, and that leads to frustration and quitting too soon. Imagine this. You save $200 a month and invest it at an 8% annual return. After 1 year, you have $2,400 invested and earn roughly $96 in interest. It doesn't feel like much, right? That's exactly why early wealth accumulation feels like pushing a boulder uphill. Every dollar you add comes straight from your pocket, and the gains from compounding are tiny at first. Now, let's scale that. If you keep contributing $200 a month consistently, after 5 years, you'll have about $13,200 from contributions alone and roughly $1,200 from interest. The interest is still small, but the habit of consistent investing is what matters most at this stage. Think of it as building financial muscles. You might not see a six-pack yet, but you're laying the foundation. Here's where the math gets interesting. Once you've accumulated $10,000, an 8% return generates $800 a year without adding a single penny. Compare that to the $96 you made on your first $2,400. Suddenly, the same rate of return produces almost 10 times more money. That's compounding in action. The bigger your base, the faster your wealth grows. Most beginners miss this crucial insight. They judge investments based on immediate returns instead of the long-term trajectory. It's like planting a tree and expecting fruit in the first month. Real wealth builds silently, almost invisibly, and then accelerates. Understanding this math changes your mindset. Every dollar saved isn't just $1. It's a small seed that can grow into hundreds or thousands if nurtured consistently. Here's another practical example. If you save $500 per month at 8%, after 1 year, you'll have $6,000 plus $240 in interest. After 5 years, you'll have about $31,000. And after 10 years, nearly $80,000. All before even thinking about raises or side income. The math rewards consistency far more than intensity bursts. This is why most people fail. They don't treat investing as a consistent habit. The key takeaway? Early wealth building is slow, but it doesn't have to feel hopeless. The numbers are on your side if you stick to the process. Start small, stay consistent, and understand that $100 today is not just $100. It's the beginning of a snowball that will grow exponentially over time. By mastering the math early, You also avoid the psychological trap of chasing quick wins. You begin to see that wealth accumulation isn't about striking gold. It's about stacking predictable, reliable gains over time. This understanding is the first step toward financial freedom, knowing that every small contribution matters, every month, every year, and that the math eventually tips the scales in your favor. Part 3. Breaking free from financial traps. Most people don't fail financially because they are lazy or incapable. They fail because they fall into invisible traps that slowly drain their money, energy, and confidence. And the hardest part? These traps feel normal, even logical, because society is built around them. To move toward financial independence, you need to recognize them early and build immunity before they swallow you whole. One of the biggest traps is buying with emotions instead of logic. We tell ourselves we deserve things after a hard week, or we buy something expensive because it feels like progress, even if it puts us further behind. Companies spend billions studying how to trigger dopamine, urgency, and artificial desire. If you don't control your emotions will control your wallet. This is why your first line of defense is awareness. Every time you want to buy something, ask yourself one simple question. Does this improve my life or just my mood? Another deadly trap is what I call the illusion of progress. When people spend money to look successful instead of becoming successful. And today, this illusion is stronger than ever. Social media has turned comparison into a daily habit. Everyone wants to seem rich, confident, stylish, and high status. People buy clothes they can't afford, book vacations on credit, get the newest phone just to flex an Instagram story. They're not upgrading their life. They're upgrading their image. And this is one of the biggest financial pitfalls of our generation. Millions of people are drowning in consumer debt because they're trying to keep up with a lifestyle that isn't even real. They chase the aesthetic of success instead of the reality of it. Remember this: if you try to impress people who don't care about you, you'll spend money that should have built your future. Then comes the trap of short-term thinking, the mindset that kills long-term wealth. People want results fast. They want to invest once and double their money in a month. They want a new income stream, but quit after a week. They want a skill, but refuse to practice. This mentality creates frustration, burnout, and constant resets. Real progress is boring, repetitive, and invisible at first. The sooner you accept that, the sooner everything changes. Another trap is depending on a single source of income. One job, one salary, one client, all of it creates vulnerability. The modern world is unstable, and if one thing collapses, your whole life can collapse with it. Financial freedom doesn't come from working more. It comes from building multiple streams that protect you even when something goes wrong. And finally, the most underestimated trap: believing you have time. People delay investing, learning, saving, starting a project, building a skill because they think they'll do it later. But later always becomes never, and the cost of starting late is higher than any sacrifice you could make today. To escape these traps, you must shift from reactive to intentional living. Stop making decisions based on impulse and start making them based on vision. Understand that money is not just currency, it's the power to choose your life. And every financial mistake you avoid today becomes the opportunity you can afford tomorrow. Part 4. Boost your income and make money work for you. Once you've mastered basic saving, the fastest way to accelerate wealth is by increasing your income. It's not about working harder at your current job. It's about creating multiple streams of income. For example, if you earn $2,000 a month from your job, Adding a $500 freelance project or a small online business can increase your income by 25%. Over a year, that's an extra $6,000, money you can invest and make work for you. Start by listing skills or knowledge you already have that others would pay for. Are you good at graphic design, writing, programming, or social media management? Websites like Upwork, Fiverr, and Etsy allow you to monetize these skills with minimal upfront cost. Even a few hours per week can add $200 to $500 monthly, which compounds over time when invested. Next, leverage your money. Don't just save, invest strategically. For instance, investing $500 per month in a low-cost index fund with an average 8% annual return grows to nearly $70,000 in 10 years. If you increase that to $1,000 per month, you'll hit $140,000. Numbers like this show the power of combining consistent investing with compound interest. Automation is another key strategy. Set up automatic transfers to your savings and investment accounts. This ensures consistency, eliminates human error, and prevents temptation. For example, if $300 automatically moves to investments each month, you'll accumulate $3,600 annually without thinking about it, enough to invest in stocks, ETFs, or even a micro-business. Cutting expenses is powerful only when combined with boosting income. Look for high-impact changes. Cancel subscriptions you never use, renegotiate insurance or utility bills, or switch to cheaper alternatives. If you save $200 per month by cutting unnecessary expenses and invest it at 8% annually, that's an extra $2,600 in a year. Combined with side income, this creates a substantial growth engine. Think strategically about time versus money. Your time is valuable. Outsource low-value tasks like cleaning, delivery runs, or repetitive chores if they cost more than the value of your time. Instead, focus your effort on activities that can generate $50 to $200 per hour, like consulting, online teaching, or side projects. Finally, track everything. People often overestimate expenses and underestimate income potential. Use a simple spreadsheet or app to log every dollar earned and spent. By doing so, you can spot $50 to $100 per week in savings or earnings opportunities that compound into thousands annually. Transparency gives clarity and control, which is critical for wealth acceleration. By combining disciplined investing, multiple income streams, automation, strategic time use, and tracking, you create a financial system that grows reliably. For example, someone saving $500 monthly, investing $500 side income, and cutting $200 in unnecessary spending can add $1,200 per month to investments. In just 5 years, at 8% returns, that's over $80,000 without touching the primary salary. This is how your money begins to work harder than you do, turning small, consistent efforts into tangible wealth. Part 5. Balance is key. Track every dollar. Most financial advice you see online boils down to extreme tips. Skip your daily coffee, cancel all subscriptions, or live like a hermit to save money. You've probably heard it 1,000 times. If you skip $10 coffee every day, you'll have millions in 10 years. The problem? It's misleading, unrealistic, and often discouraging. The truth is, personal finance isn't about denying yourself, it's about balance. Tracking your expenses is the cornerstone of effective money management. You don't need to live in deprivation, but you do need to know exactly where every dollar goes. Without this knowledge, saving becomes guesswork, and guesswork rarely leads to financial success. Start by writing down every single expense for 1 month. Not just rent or groceries, but coffee, snacks, subscription services, apps, even small impulse purchases. You'd be surprised how $5 here and $10 there quickly add up to hundreds or even thousands per month. For example, let's say you spend $7 every day on coffee. That's $210 a month. If you track your other expenses, streaming services, $30, lunch out, $150, random online purchases, $100, you're already at $490 a month. Over a year, that's $5,880, which could be invested or saved in more strategic ways. The point isn't to eliminate all of it. It's to understand and control it. Technology makes this easier than ever. You can download the simplest expense tracking program, or even a spreadsheet can help you categorize your expenses automatically. They let you set spending limits, track patterns, and alert you when you're exceeding your plan. Over time, these tools help you spot recurring habits that drain your wallet without providing real value. Balance also means prioritizing. Not every expense needs to be cut. Keep what brings you genuine joy. Enjoying a small daily coffee or occasional dinner out is fine, as long as you're aware of the cost and it fits your overall budget. This approach is sustainable, unlike extreme austerity, which leads to burnout or impulse splurges. Adjusting your spending is about flexibility, not rigidity. Life happens. Sometimes a car repair or medical expense pops up. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness and intentionality. When you track every dollar, you can reallocate funds intelligently. Maybe you spend less on entertainment for a month to save for a bigger investment. Or you notice that meal prepping saves $200 a month, which you can invest without cutting joy from your life. Here's a practical exercise. Make a simple list of all your monthly expenses and divide them into 3 categories: essentials, wants, and waste. Essentials are non-negotiables, like rent, utilities, groceries. Wants are things that bring value and happiness, like dining out or hobbies. Waste includes items that provide minimal satisfaction: unused subscriptions, impulse buys, overpriced convenience services. Focus on reducing waste first. Essentials and wants can remain largely intact. The key takeaway? Financial discipline doesn't mean deprivation, it means control. Tracking every dollar allows you to save intelligently, invest strategically, and still enjoy life. Your first $100,000 or $200,000 won't come from skipping a coffee. It comes from knowing where your money goes, making informed adjustments, and maintaining balance consistently over time. Part 6. Real-life results. How smart decisions compound your wealth. When it comes to building wealth, theory only takes you so far. The real lessons come from seeing how strategic decisions play out in real life. Let's look at 2 contrasting examples to understand the impact of choices. The first example is about my friend from Italy. Let's call him Gorlami. He always saved diligently. He tracked his expenses, avoided unnecessary splurges, and consistently put aside money each month. But here's the catch. He never invested it wisely. His money sat in a low-interest savings account for decades. By the time he reached retirement age, he had a respectable amount, but inflation had eroded much of its value. This is a common pitfall. Saving without strategic growth limits your potential. Contrast this with someone who not only saves, but also invests intelligently and diversifies income streams. Imagine someone who tracks their expenses, just like my Italian friend, but then takes it a step further. They invest $1,000 monthly into a diversified portfolio averaging 8% annual returns, while also putting $500 into a high-growth side project, like an online business or small product brand. 10 years later, their portfolio alone grows to roughly $200,000 to $250,000, and the side business could bring in an additional $2,000 to $5,000 per month. That's not a theoretical number. It's realistic if you maintain consistency and make smart investment choices. The lesson is clear. Saving alone builds security, but combining savings with investing and income diversification builds wealth and freedom. Now, let's talk about actionable tips. First, automate your savings and investments. Set up automatic transfers every month to accounts that grow your money. This removes the temptation to spend it. Second, track everything. Whether it's through a simple spreadsheet or an app like YNAB, Mint, or Spendy, know exactly where every dollar goes. This is not about restricting yourself. It's about visibility. Awareness creates control. Third, evaluate opportunities for passive income. This could be dividend stocks, rental properties, or small-scale business ventures. Start small, but consistently reinvest the profits. Over time, these streams compound and add up significantly faster than simply saving. Fourth, monitor and adjust your plan annually. Life changes, markets fluctuate, and your goals evolve. Review your spending, saving, and investing strategy at least once a year to stay on track. Finally, don't underestimate the psychological impact of visible progress. When you see your investments growing, your motivation skyrockets. This momentum encourages you to save more, invest smarter, and even explore new opportunities you wouldn't have considered otherwise. The contrast between our two examples underscores an essential principle. Wealth isn't just about how much you save, it's about how you use it. Strategic action, patience, and smart reinvestment create a compounding effect that can turn ordinary earners into financially free individuals within a decade. Remember, you don't need to be extreme. You don't need to deny yourself every small pleasure. What matters is understanding the trade-offs, using tools to stay organized, and making decisions that work for your long-term financial future. Follow these principles, and the journey from your first $100,000 to your second and beyond becomes not just possible, but much faster and far more rewarding. And before we wrap up, here's something to remember. Building wealth isn't about luck or a magic shortcut. It's about consistent, smart decisions that compound over time. If you start today, your future self will thank you. If you found this video useful, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I share practical tips, real-life strategies, and insights to help you take control of your finances and grow your wealth faster. Get more with Leo Levin. Thanks for watching. See you